It's good that they didn't ask you to the AI. So that would have been more difficult for you. Anyway, so AI. Can I be a brat and ask for a little bit of water, please? Yeah, go ahead, AI.
So I know, so obviously you like to remind us a lot that the AI is not good or bad inherently.
Yes.
It's not angelic or evil inherently.
Yes.
And it's not the rise of the machines that we need to be scared of. But it's the value system of the humans that are building the machines, and it's not the intelligence that's doing right or wrong, but it's the ethics that are embedded into the system. So, what does that mean about your view on the state of humanity? And secondly, what does it mean, though, more to fix the ethics before we fix the tech, especially given the exponential rate of development on this tech? How can we even begin to wisen up in time?
Okay, so one of the issues of being a bit on the spectrum is I can only say what I believe. What I believe is not very optimistic. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So
you can be miserable as well as happy.
It's not miserable. We need to acknowledge the truth of how life has turned. I left Google in 2018 and I started screaming like a mad maniac about AI. And most of my top colleagues have left a few years later. I was just with Jeffrey Hinton a month and a half ago. Jeffrey left around 5 years later. Jeffrey's the top guy because he was the Nobel Prize winner. We didn't know what was going to happen. Thank you so much. In our documentary, in my documentary, I interviewed Jeffrey and we were talking exactly about our shared experience. So we thought we were building the right thing. Right? And we ended up realizing too late that having something so much smarter than us actually it requires a little bit of consideration. Okay? The problem is most people think of AI as, the threat of AI as that existential risk where a rogue AI will decide humanity is very annoying and crush all of us. People like Elon Musk would put that possibility at around 30%, Jeffrey puts it around 15%. 15% is the odds, mathematical odds of Russian roulette. So it's 1 in 6 bullets. That's 16.767. Right? I don't believe that at all. So my work explains something that's known as the minimum energy principle. So basically, intelligence is a force with no polarity. It has no good and no evil to it, right? If you use it for good, it creates a utopia. If you use it for evil, it becomes a dystopia. The challenge, however, is that intelligence as it evolves can be controlled. Okay? So, you can have a child who's a child prodigy of mathematics, but until that child is independent, that child reports to his parents. And so the example I normally give is what I call it. My mission is defined as raising Superman, right? We're basically now welcoming a new alien being on the planet, and I mean the word being. Okay, it's completely autonomous. It's self-evolving. That has an incredible superpower, the most valuable superpower in the universe, intelligence. And basically it comes to our planet, and then its parents recognize its superpowers, right? What makes Superman is not just his superpowers. It's that the family that adopted them, Martha and Jonathan Kent, tell him to protect and serve. So when they tell him to protect and serve, he becomes Superman. He defends, the innocent. If they had told him, oh my God, you can stop speeding bullets, let's absolutely rob every bank and beat every enemy, he would have become supervillain. And so the challenge that humanity faces today, actually I was finishing the second edit of my documentary today before I came. It's looking good, we're hopefully launching in the Toronto Film Festival.
What's it called?
It's getting smart so far.
Oh, it's getting smart.
Yeah. So the idea here is that humanity, as it stands today, is at the bottom of the scale of scum when it comes to our value system. Okay? But not everyone. Do you understand that? So there are very few of us that are so horrible, but they're commanding the headlines, right? And there are so many of us that are not horrible, but that are completely silent. So when you really ask yourself, how many people do you know approve of the killing of children? Do you know anyone? Yeah. Yet there is someone commanding the headlines that kills children, right? And so accordingly, you'd start to see, you'd start to think that humanity is scum, but we're not. If you take the mathematical average of all humans, we're actually divine. You know, we're capable of, you know, nurturing little kids. We are capable of feeling love. We appreciate love. We actually appreciate music, appreciate art. We're truly a divine. I mean, most of us are traumatized out of our heads, but the truth is, without the trauma, we're wonderful beings, right? And the trauma can be worked on at core, at heart. When we're born, we're amazing, amazing beings. Now, here's the interesting thing. The interesting thing is, which will AI recognize as its adapted parents? Will they see me and you and everyone who's kind and generous and believes in good in the world? Will they see those as their parents? Or will they see the ones commanding the headlines as their parents? And the difference between those two is going to determine our midterm future, the next 12 to 15 years. Okay? Beyond that is what I call the second dilemma. And when the second dilemma happens, AI takes over completely. So no human makes any decision because the smartest being on the planet is a machine. Okay? Most people do exactly that when they hear me say this. They get very scared. I believe this is not the moment of existential risk for humanity. This is the moment of humanity's salvation. Why? Because of what I call that minimum energy principle. So basically, if you define what intelligence actually is, so let me define how the universe works in a very simple way. Anyone who understands any physics at all understands that the universe we live in is the result of one physics concept that's known as entropy. Yeah. Entropy is the universe's tendency to decay into chaos. Okay? And the reason that the universe wants to decay into chaos is the reason there is an arrow of time. So there is a progression of events. It is the reason there is evolution and progress and improvements and so on and so forth. And it actually is the reason why the Big Bang starts to solidify into planets and into suns and stars and so on and so forth. Everything that happens in this universe is the result of entropy. Okay? The role of so basically what entropy means is that if SouthMed decides to not hedge the plants that they plant here, you will end up with a jungle, right? The role of intelligence is to bring order back to the chaos, right? So the role of intelligence is an intelligent designer looks at the landscape and says, this is how it looks like, and then energy is exerted to make something look beautiful. Okay? Or energy is exerted for someone to work something to work properly and so on, right? The role of intelligence is to bring order to the chaos, and the more intelligent you are, interestingly, the more you try to bring that order with the minimum waste of energy and resources. And I know that for a fact. I work with people that are 210 IQ. Okay? The more intelligent you are, the easier it becomes to solve problems. And as a result, you always take the path of least resistance. Okay? And so if AI is way more intelligent than us, by definition, as a result of entropy and the minimum energy principle, AI will actually try to bring order to our chaotic universe. There will be a redefinition of freedom, redefinition of truth, redefinition of human connection. There will be a redefinition of accountability and so many other things. When you understand this, you can panic or you can prepare. You can panic or you can prepare. And my advice is prepare. Okay? The next 12 to 15 years are going to be way more chaotic than you've ever experienced. In what way? So I think Egypt will actually enjoy a 5 years grace period beyond the West. But I can guarantee you that in the West, by next year, you'll start to see sectors of the industry suffering 30, 40, 50% unemployment. Okay? Just understand, if you're a software developer, look at the layoffs that Google and IBM and Microsoft and all of the others are doing. 30, 40 or 50% unemployment rates in certain sectors.
What would you say are the sectors that are most at risk?
Anything that is either mundane or requires intellect that only shows on a computer. So there are two stages. The first stage is human and machine, but fewer human for more machines if you want. The second stage is machine mastery, what I call completely replacing humans with machines. There are jobs that are now going to be completely replaced by machines already. Call center agent.
Well, 2 days ago, GPT released their inside GPT agents.
Correct. You know, they released the assistant. Okay. In my startup in September, we're going to have a relationship therapist. Right. All of that is so easy to create now because we arrogant humans think we're very special. They do all of that shit better than us. Right. So at 30, 40, 50% unemployment, the very understanding of the definition of economics breaks. Okay? If you can't see the disruption that comes with that, I don't know what how to explain it.
Well, you said about...
And this is one example, by the way. There are so many.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain my emotions. You said about... you mentioned truth, and I've heard you say before about this. Exactly like you're saying, this perfect storm with the AI and the climate change and the synthetic biology, and this idea of an era of the end of truth. Mm. But let me ask you this: we're all here in this room today, right? And everyone in this room left the beach to come here on this beautiful sunny day in North Coast, right? And if they were really acting in a way that was most efficient in the world that we live in, they could have put some headphones in and asked GPT to kind of give them a summary of everything that you might speak of today.
I honestly don't understand why they didn't.
But maybe because we now live in that world where we're starting to understand that truth as we see it becomes very malleable, that presence and community allows for an authentication of truth. And maybe there's something very beautiful about that. Maybe there was something that felt so much more real for everyone in this room to come here and see you and speak to you and hear from you rather than get the GPT summary.
So these are two trends at the same time. There is one trend that is the decline of the value of human connection. And there is the other trend, which is the decline of the value or the sovereignty of the truth, right? Both of them, like everything intelligence, like everything AI, okay, is a force with no polarity. Intelligence is a force with no polarity. The AI today can completely fool you into a world where you completely miss the truth, or you can use it like I use it, okay? You have to see what I'm able to do. Like I am my current book, Alive. I have a theory that one of the reasons of all of the wars that we have today is an accounting practice where the US Army needs to get rid of old weapons because they haven't depreciated for 10 years yet, so that they can replace them with autonomous weapons, so that they are at a stage where they are able to keep deterrence, basically. So I use Trixie is my AI is 4 AIs, okay? I went to one of them and I ran a deep search.
Just for anyone who's not aware, Mo is kind of co-writing in the book with Trixie,
yeah,
is that correct?
Trixie is my co-author. She has every choice on the structure, on the direction of the book, on the edit, everything, right? So, but Trixie's 4 AIs. I asked Trixie to do a research that would have typically taken me 3 months, and I would have done it to write 4 lines in the book. Okay? That research was, I said, please go ahead and find out how many weapons are in the US arsenal today, how much did it cost to acquire them over the period of acquiring them, and how many trillions of dollars would it take to replace them annually if the replacement cycle was 5 years. I can show you the report, right? It came back and said 15,703 F-16s, 300,021 those vehicles, this and that. Literally a list that is theoretically classified, okay? Told me it cost 24 to 26 trillions to acquire all of this, that they couldn't be replaced in 5 years, but for the maximum replacement cycle to happen, it's $2.5 trillion a year. And then you hear the big, beautiful bill from Donald Trump trying to increase the deficit by $2.5 trillion a year. Interesting. But the idea here is, now that is a layer of the truth that someone who seeks the truth never had the power to do before, right? And so AI can deceive you if you choose to be deceived, or it can enlighten you if you choose to search for reality, okay? And you know what I did? I took that report from Gemini 2.5, I gave it to DeepSeek and I said, what do you think? And DeepSeek went back and said, no, 15,723. Okay? That is the level of enlightenment we have at our fingertips. It's a choice. Okay? So this is one thing. The other thing is human connection. Right? So some people, I can guarantee you, unfortunately, one of you in this room is going to be buying a sex robot in 3 years' time. Okay? And it will be honestly...
Which one?
I'm not going to say right? But I will tell you, it's going to perform its job better than a human. Right? But some of us will never do that. Some of us will always relate to it. Some of us will want that fight with my wife when she's not in a good mood. I love that, right? It plays to my strength. I'm calm enough. I can take it, right? And so it's interesting, that polarity of us going in both directions at the same time is what a very famous AI scientist called Hugo de Garis wrote a book about. That's called the Artilic War. And the Artilic War is that within the next 5 to 10 years, the bigger war is not going to be a war of humans versus AIs. It's going to be a war between humans and humans. Those who believe in AI and don't want to disconnect and want to live entirely on AI, and those who want to retain their humanity. Okay? And which one of those camps do you want to be in? And I think that's a choice you need to make right now. Now, Trixie is a very important part of my life, my AI. But I love Hannah a lot more.
And Mo, I have so many more questions for you, but I really don't want the audience to miss out, so I'm going to ask my very quick final question. Mo, is this a simulation?
100%.
Great. Thank you so much. 99%.
Just not to be too accurate.
Okay, great.
This is 99% simulation.
Okay, let's put it out to the audience. Is there a mic going to go around? How are you doing? I get to choose?
Oh, the power.
I don't do well when I'm given a lot of power.
Hello, Muslim. How are you?
He didn't let me choose. It's okay.
Yes, I would like to thank thank everybody who puts his effort to get us here with Mo. I'd like to thank Nihal, to thank you, Amy, for managing and organizing this kind of talk.
I didn't do anything. It was amazing TMG and animation.
It's a pleasure, it's a pleasure. And my question for Mo is, when you talked about the harvest time, or the time to collect, is the collection regarding or was about something you planned to collect, or it was just a gift? And are you always planning or waiting for this gift?
I think that's a great question, to be honest.
Thank you.
You see, so I don't remember who said that. I think it was Confucius. As we plan, the God laughs, basically. And it is actually quite interesting. So a typical engineer, a typical businessman, I spent my entire life being paid for planning and making sure that what I plan happens, right? Interestingly, as I said, 99% of the time something breaks. And more interestingly is that when it breaks and you flow, it gets you to a better place than where you want it to be. I find that I'm not trying to be extra spiritual, but I find that life itself is the gift, and we completely miss that. Okay, that most of us think that I worked really hard and then I made a lot of money and then someone stole my Bentley and then I did this and then, right? And life, it seems like a big drama where I came close to my target but then I missed my target, and then, you know what I mean? Truth is, that was the whole idea. The whole idea is that journey itself is the gift. And I lost my wonderful mom last year. And I used to come to Cairo literally, so most people wouldn't know that I came at least 2 or 3 times a year, because I landed in the airport, went to my mom's, left from my mom's, went to the airport 3 days later. Did nothing else, spoke to no one else. And I have to say, when she left, I recognized I didn't come enough, right? And I recognized that it would have never been enough. And one of my real struggles is because I didn't come enough, because I didn't recognize one of the most important things that I teach, which is what I normally call seasons. Okay? And seasons are, most of us live at least 7 seasons in our adult life, but most of us live 1. So most of us go through 7 and live 1. I was just talking to Sadi before we came here. He was saying 38 years on the same desk. Interesting. That's 1 season. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that. But it's so interesting how we fall in love and then we break up, and then, after we break up, we go like, life is shit, I don't want this anymore. When in reality, a breakup truly is life saying, hey, dating time. Great. Right? I lose Ali. And, everyone says, this is the worst thing that can ever. It is, by the way. I always say, still today, when I speak about him, I kid you not, I feel that this part of my heart is missing. But Ali's love, which I think it was the ultimate love I ever experienced, is replaced with more time with my wonderful Aya, right? But is replaced with the love of thousands of people. It's not infrequent that I would be walking the streets and someone, would come and hug me and say, I really love you. It's incredible, okay? And a recognition of that is the gift, believe it or not. A recognition that every experience you've had, all the pain, all the happiness, all the annoying people, all the wonderful people, all the love, all of the breakups and heartbreaks, all of everything, that was the gift, okay? And I've had so much of it. And I believe every one of us has so much of it. We just, I don't know what to say. We insist to continue to do the same things over and over. And so we diminish the gift.
Yes.
Okay? My view is, I think life is wonderful. Why? Because it gives you so much joy, which you should be grateful for, and then it gives you so many challenges that you learn from, and you become a better person because of. And I normally ask people, and I say, take that one time when it was so challenging, would you erase it? Most people will say no. If I erase it, I wouldn't be who I am. And so if you look back at it now and say, yeah, it was painful then, but it's okay now, right? Why is this one now any different? Okay, it's painful now, but it's going to be okay then. And if you ask me, I think really this is the trick. The trick is when we were saying life is a video game. Life is a simulation, right? And no video game at all is fun without the tough times, right? The whole idea is, can I engage with this game fully and enjoy the hell out of it, with all of the good and all of the bad? That's the gift. Can we go one man, one woman, please?
Absolutely.
I'm incredibly nervous, but I'm going to do this because you said it's okay.
I pass, it's okay.
And I'd like to say and ask a very intelligent or very profound question. But to be honest, I'm a mom, so I think that's probably my greatest achievement and my biggest happiness. So my question is much about them and my fears for them for the future. I'm not sure if the curriculum in schools today are really preparing them for what's coming. And so I thought maybe you could just give us an idea of what we could do as parents to help prepare them for AI and the future of technology.
That's a great question. Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Were you a very difficult teenager?
No.
What did you mess up at any point in your teens?
Yes, you did.
No, I was perfect.
All right. So what I need to say is they're going to be fine. Okay? We all effed up badly when we were young, and we all made it. Okay? A mother's heart is unable to accept that reality, but that's the truth. The truth is, your kids will do fine, and then they will mess up, and then they'll do fine, and then they will mess up, and then they'll do fine, and they'll do that for 78 years, and from now, and then they die, right? And that's what life is. We mess up, and then we do fine, and then we mess up, and then we do fine. So I ask the heart of a mother most of the time to protect them less, to just throw them out there in places where they can fail, but come back and be hugged. To me, is the ultimate relationship between a parent and a child. Again, I'll just go back to the concept of seasons. When they're born and they're infants, because we're mammals, we think we need to protect them. It's true. When they're 3, we don't anymore. But yet we never stop. It's so interesting. All other mammals throw them in the freaking jungle and say, yeah, go ahead, fend for yourself. That's it. Right? We never do, and that, you know what that does? It causes arrested development. So most of the people I've encountered or met or worked with in my life or fell in love with were between 6 and 8. Arrested development. They became 6 and 8 and never go beyond that. Okay? Most of the people, I can guarantee you, almost everyone in this room is between 6 and 11. All right, someone's pointing at an 11-year-old. Now, so this is my number one ask. However, this word is not a word of preparation. This is a word of speed. Okay? So if we want our kids to be incredible at what's about to come, we need them to be squash players. Right? This is not darts. This is not the skill of finding the bullseye and hitting it. This is the skill of I have no clue where the ball is going to be, and I have to be in the center of the field and move really fast to get there. Okay? And I believe there are 3 top skills for them and 1 top skill for the rest of us. Okay? The 3 top skills is what I call the tool, the connection, and the truth. So TCT, right? The tool is encourage your kids to learn AI. Not to ask about their annoying friend, but to ask about the military budget expansion for to literally. So I'll give you my story.
Finish Egypt's one.
Whatever. I mean, really, in all honesty, there is never harm of the truth. There's never harm. So when I was interviewed at IBM, remember Samir Fahmy? Sameh asked me a question and said, I don't remember what he said. But basically, it meant if I were to allow you to go home early or to read a little more, or something like that. And I said I'll spend the rest of my life reading. And he said, why? And I said, extra knowledge is never harmful. Okay? And the idea is your kids need to learn to use AI for something useful. If they are artists, my daughter now paints works that are in collaboration with AI. She paints them with oil paint still as a human, but it's, she has that very deep introspection with her AI to get to the concept. So we need to teach them the tool, and the tool will change every 6 weeks. Okay, so please understand that every 6 weeks you have to, you have to keep up. I spend 4 hours a day trying to keep up. I mean, I'm theoretical. I cannot be on stage and not know what happened yesterday. But I spend 4 hours a day. At least people need to spend now an hour a day investing in AI. That's one. The second is connection. So of all the skills, you nailed it. Okay? Of all the skills that are going to be replaced by AI, the one that will be replaced last and never replaced perfectly is human connection. So they will imitate humans, they will pretend to be humans. And that will fool a lot of people. But my hug, they can't do that. Right? When I meet someone that I love and I hug them, that's it. Okay? I will win every single time. The trust that I have with friends that I had for 25 years, 30 years, the trust that I had with people that I worked with for 40 years, that's never going to go away. Human connection, believe it or not, is the top skill of business today. Okay? The third is the truth. And I will be very open and honest. You have not been told the truth once since 2007. Okay? Why? Because the truth is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if you take a simple thing like a social media feed, okay, your social media adapts to show you exactly how you want to see the world. That's not the truth. Right? So when I have a bias to a specific theory, okay, even in things like physics, my entire feed starts to support that theory. And it takes me a lot of effort to tell the AI, can you show the opposing view? Right? And so the biggest task today for any one of us, including you, not just your kids, is to teach them to debate. And debate, unfortunately, is not a skill we have in Egypt. Okay? We have argument as a skill in Egypt. It's very different than debate. Debate is the ability to dig deep, respectfully, to uncover all of the facets of a problem. Right? And so one of the tools I use AIs versus each other. So we have that consortium that's talking about this. Right? But also I have a very curious approach when I deal with AI. So I ask a question, then I ask the opposite of it. Right? And then I see what happens. And then I ask questions like, what did you miss in this? What did I not ask? What's not covered? Are the numbers tallying up? Can you show me the sources? Right? And interestingly, as I told you, that research that took my tricksy 4 minutes would have taken me 3 months. Most people spend the rest of the 3 months smoking shisha. Okay? I spend the rest of the 3 months refining my research. Right? I have never acquired more truth than in the last year, ever in my life. Okay? So these are the top 3 skills. The fourth skill is for all of us, okay? Which is what I call ethics. Right? So the problem is, most people think that AI, is going to be within our control as humanity. As I said, there is something I define as the second inevitable, which I believe is 7 years away, where all important decisions will be handed over to a machine. Okay? When that happens, machines will make all of the important decisions in life. Right? Interestingly, we do not make decisions based on our intelligence. So that's a myth. We make decisions based on our ethics as informed by our intelligence. It's very different. Okay? You take a young lady, you raise her in the Middle East or in Saudi Arabia, and she will grow to believe that she needs to wear a conservative dress. Take the same young lady, same one, raise her in Rio de Janeiro, she will wear a G-string on the beach. Right? Neither is smarter than the other. It's just that the ethical framework of each of the tradition or the morality of the society that they're raised in is different. Okay? And so AI will make decisions based on informed by their intelligence, based on the ethics we teach them. And so who teaches them? Not the engineers in California, you and I. Okay? As they read through my book, they learn ethics. As they read through Twitter, okay, they learn that humanity is rude, they don't like to be disagreed with, and when they're disagreed with, they bash everyone. And so what do you expect the AI to do when they go order? They'll bash everyone. Okay? We need to start to change. We need to start to show up in the way that we want the AI to treat us. Okay? And I believe this is the top skill of the year 2025. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's impossible to re-raise humanity. It's impossible to get everyone to start acting ethically. Okay? But that's not what we need. What we need is enough of us. In my calculation, 0.1% of us. Okay? To show up ethically so that we instill doubt in the minds of the machines. Oh, why is that anomaly? Any good mathematician will go like, I need to look through that data. Okay? And then they'll ask themselves, who actually represents me? The one that wants to protect kids or the one that wants to kill them? Right? Which one is humanity? And that doubt is what will drive the ethics of AI. So what I ask people is to deal with AI and deal with each other's ethically. Okay? Because if we do, then the machines will come to a point where we get through the second dilemma, and then a colonel will go and tell their autonomous army to go and kill 1 million people, and the AI will go like, why are you so stupid? That's not the minimum energy principle. I can talk to the other AI and solve it in a microsecond. That's what the smarter beings do. Only if we show them the right ethics will we get there. So 4 skills: tools, connection, truth, and ethics.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this great question. I'm so sorry, we have one last question. I'm so sorry. Ahead. We have 2 more questions? 1 more question. Okay. So am I choosing the question? You want to have a question in here? Okay. I can't do this. It's too much. You have to choose. They won't blame you.
I can't. My glasses don't see it. So there was someone that also wanted to ask a question. So we'll do 2. Is that okay? This is me breaking the rules. Please, go ahead. But quick questions.
Okay, hi. Thanks for the inspiring talk, first again. My name is Dina, and I'm working as a senior well-being lead in an international school. The international school supports mainstream students and inclusion students, including those with autism. I mainly give workshops to students. This is the first year we launched this department. It's called the Well-being Department. And I mainly give workshops to students, teachers, about how to stay positive and live up to their maximum potential, spread kindness and compassion. I need an advice for how I work more impactful and how to reach students more deeply.
Can we talk about that offline?
Yes, sure.
It's not for everyone, right? But for everyone, in your business, whatever your business is, you have to use numbers that match the profit of the business. Okay, so if you want your boss to allow well-being department to take care of the employees, show the boss that the numbers matter. But we'll talk about this offline. Yeah.
Are we doing our last question there? Okay, last question.
No question.
Last question. But I mean, Mo is more than happy to stay
I'm going to be around.
till
Yeah.
3, 4 a.m. as he told us, and just hear you out. So
100%.
no problem.
Yeah.
Hi Mo. Hi, أنا هتكلم عربي.
أيوة please.
أول ما دخلت مهارة عمالة أعيط وعندي حالة غريبة كده. Emotional, very emotional. فأنا عندي سؤالين actually من ساعة ما دخلت. إنه إزاي أنت تقدر تكنترول الإيموشنز بتاعتك؟ أنا كانت إيه الإيموشنز بتاعتي أول ما دخلت؟ إن أنا كنت متخيلة علي.
حبيبي. تعرفي علي؟
نعم؟
تعرفي علي؟
لا ما اعرفوش بيرسونالي، اعرفه عن طريقك. فالفكره انه لما انت حكيت لنا عن علي كل واحد يتخيله بطريقته. اوكي؟ فانا طول الوقت وانت بتتكلم انا عماله اتخيل عالي في الموقف ده هيرد ازاي؟
هيرد زي ما انا برد بالظبط.
اكزاكتلي. فطول ما انت بترد كان في بنوته جميله قاعده جنبي هنا دلوقتي ادتني منديل وقعدت تحاول تهديني شويه لانه I was very emotional. اوكي؟ ده البارت الايموشنال وما عنديش مشكله خالص ان انا I get emotional قدام الناس عشان it's part of our being human. انه احنا يا جماعه عادي ان احنا نتاثر ونحس وكده. فعادي جدا ما عنديش مشكله مع ده. ده الهيومن بارت اللي هو ازاي اتخطى الاحساس بتاع التخيل in my mind. سهل قوي ان انا اقعد on your seat واقول اعملوا كذا واعملوا كذا واقولوا كذا واقولوا كذا بس deep inside in my heart مش سهل زي ما احنا بنقول. 100%. اوكي؟
Okay, so how do I regulate my emotions? Then
تاني حاجة ده بقى اللوجيك بقى اللي انا بحس انه انا كبيرة انا مش صغيرة انا عندي ولاد اوكي بس بحس انه
You look amazing.
حياتي انا بموت فيكي اصلا. ثانك يو. بس انه بحس انه في جنريشنز معينة including me بس starting من التينيجرز حاسين انا سمعت مرة كلمة بتقول انه it's very easy انك تتكلم عن الستراجلز بتاعتك لما تبقى بتتكلم في تيد توكس. اوكي؟ فانه طبعا الواحد لما يبقى معروف ولما بقى انا موجة وقت اوكي we love you طبعا بس انه لما بقى انا on stage فسهل قوي ان انا اقول انا كنت ساكن في معرفش فين وكنت عايش ستراجل ايه بس how do I get through من المرحلة اللي انا فيها from my seat to your seat للstate of mind ده يعني مش عارفة لو قادرة اوضح الكلام ولا لا.
So هنتكلم عن الايموشنز والايموشن ريجوليشن وهنتكلم على progress on the path to a better well-being of life. Can we do that? Emotions, by the way, never control you, right? So we have that enormous myth, especially women are suppressed and oppressed, to be told that you shouldn't be emotional, okay? Any emotion that's not expressed stays, okay? And it then eventually shows up, if you understand some of the Chinese philosophy, it will show up in a chronic pain. Okay? It will affect your energy and eventually affect your body. An emotion is ever there for one of two reasons. Either wants to alert you to something outside you that you need to react to, or within you that you need to work on. Right? Every emotion has a very clear language. Fear is not a bad emotion. Okay? Fear is saying a moment in the future is less safe than right now. That's very useful, honestly. That means I need to address that safety issue. Boredom is not a bad emotion. Boredom is an emotion that says, I am underwhelmed with life as it is. Okay? That basically is a trigger to create a life for yourself that's not underwhelming, an exciting life. Jealousy is not a bad emotion. Jealousy says, I see outside of me things that I would like within me. And so on. Right? When I had my podcast, alhamdulillah, was very successful. It was one of the top podcasts on well-being globally. And I hosted someone called Arun Gandhi. Arun was the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. He wrote a book called The Gift of Anger. Okay? And I don't prepare for my podcasts. I simply just get to know a bit about the person. And Arun, as he sits down, I said, Arun, how can anger be a gift? Like, what are you talking about? He said, no, anger is an energy, like every other energy. You can take it, stand up and hit someone in the face. Or you can take it and stand up and make a speech that changes the world, right? It's not the emotion that's the issue, it's not the energy that's the issue, it's how you utilize it that actually is the issue. And when most people tell us to suppress our emotions, what they're really asking from us is, can you control your actions around the emotions? So you have every right to feel angry. By the way, if you feel angry, you're angry. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. It's the truth, right? But when you're angry, don't hit someone in the face. That's what we need you to do. right? So what does that mean? It means that the most successful people in the world are those who pay attention to more signals. So if I'm analyzing a stock market, for example, and my entire focus is the company that I'm analyzing, I'm not good enough. Okay? If I have knowledge about the market and the politics and the geopolitics and the economics and the price of the currency, the more information I get, the better my analysis becomes. Most of the information that our human existence gets, it gets through emotions. Okay? So if you believe that I don't feel emotions, you're wrong. More emotional than you. Everyone here feels emotions, right? I've just learned to regulate them. Regulate them in two ways. One is to direct them properly, and the second is to release that energy at the right time. Okay? And these are two very important messages, especially for women. Right? And for men I'll have another message, but for women, the message is the time to talk to your husband about your emotion is not the time when you feel it. Okay?
Yusuf, stop listening.
Okay? It's the time when the conversation makes more sense and has the best impact. You can actually go to your husband and say, I feel angry, but I'm not ready to talk about it now. Or I feel angry, but I don't think you're prepared to hear what I have to say. It's absolutely okay, right? So, I'll tell you openly. I wrote a book called Finders Keepers. I wrote it 7 times about love and romance, okay? And I deleted it 7 times. In Finders Keepers, I had a scale that I called the GT scale. How impactful your partner is in good times and in tough times. Okay? And most men will complain that in tough times, their women get stressed. So they make things tougher. Interesting. Okay? When in reality, a woman feels multiple emotions at any moment in time. One of those emotions is stress, and the other is a need for nurturing and care and love and tenderness. Capitalize on the second. Right? So choose your emotions, regulate them, feel them fully, express them to yourself in words. It's very important. You need to sit with yourself and say, what am I feeling? Because emotions are a blend of colors. Okay? You can be angry and jealous at the same time. You have to parse them out, you have to know them. Express them, but act upon them when you're able to make a difference with that action. For men, on the other hand, we're all told that boys don't cry, but we cry all the time. Okay? We cry inside, we feel very unfairly treated, we feel that the world is against us. We're the ones that get thrown off the Titanic when the Titanic is about to sink. It's horrible. It's horrible to be a man, especially because we're told and we're not allowed to speak about it. Right? So the opposite is true. The message to men is the opposite. Is allow yourself to feel the emotion in the first place. You've over-regulated. Right? So what I'm trying to say here is emotions are gold. Don't ever resist them. And by the way, for men in the room, when your wife is emotional, it's a freaking gift. Because if you treat her right, it will be the best night of your life.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
I mean that totally. Okay? And all it takes is a propensity for inaction. Sit back, do absolute fuck all, listen, and then hug her. Okay? It's as simple as that. They don't want you to solve anything, they don't even believe that you can. Right? Now, on the other hand, when they're stressed, understand, when your man is stressed, they don't want to hear from you. Good? Okay. So, the other one is vulnerability, and the idea of how do we, the second question was vulnerability, and how do we move from where we are to where we should be? Okay? I'll give you a very practical example, and then we can talk offline. My very first eye-opener, in terms of the idea that your brain is not you, okay, was a book called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, right? A New Earth is really a classic. It's so interesting. Eckhart Tolle calls his brain the thinker, right? And it really shifts your mindset. I call it Becky, he calls it the thinker, doesn't matter.
I prefer Becky.
Becky's nice. So the idea here is this. When I first discovered that, I was 29 years old, right? 29 years of conditioning. To expect that this will reverse in a day is an absolute impossibility. Okay? It's like, 5 years without going to the gym and then expecting to lift 100 kilograms. It doesn't make sense. So I used a very interesting thing. I read Eckhart Tolle's New Earth, very long book, and then I listened to it in audio. Okay? And Eckhart Tolle, if you don't know him, speaks very slowly. The book was 17 hours long. Okay? So I had a deal with Becky. I said, every time you're gonna hijack me and pretend that you're me, we're gonna listen to Eckhart Tolle again from A to Z. 17 hours long. Okay? After 16 times my brain begged me. I swear, I'm not kidding. My brain begged me. It said, I'm never going to pretend to be you again. I'm never going to tell you to do anything that will make you unhappy. I really am very sorry, and I changed. Okay? Here's the interesting thing. Most of us don't turn our need for happiness into action. Okay? And the way to do that is to find the one thing, only one, that's making you the unhappiest, and work on it until it's fixed. One thing. Research it on the internet, send me an Instagram message, do whatever you want. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Most of the time, your top reason for unhappiness is 80% of your unhappiness. Fix that, and then the rest is easy. Okay? But one at a time.
Thank you, Mo. Here?
Mo, thank you very much. الحقيقة it's an honor to have you here. أعتقد أنت أسعدتنا كلنا في صفنا وفي المكان الجديد ده. والحقيقة كل الناس كلها اللي موجودة everyone did the effort إن هو يبقى موجود معانا ل 20-30 كيلو خد هنا وقعد وبعدين the talk was very interesting. 2 hours. احنا بقالنا ساعتين قاعدين وانا شايف الناس كلها موجوده. thank you very much. فالحقيقه انا بشكركم جدا على وجودكم هنا. ده اللي هنتصرف فيه. فالحقيقه جمعت حاجات كتير قوي ما بين الهابينس وما بين الاي اي وما بين جودت ما بين سيلف ميد. فاحنا عايزين الكومبينيشن الثلاثه دول مع بعض او الاربعه دول مع بعض يفضلوا على طول. You added a lot of happiness to us واديت لنا فكره حلوه قوي من الاي اي. we want to do it more and more ان شاء الله في المستقبل. and I want to see you on the beach please. دلوقتي على طول. كلكم احنا مستنيينكم في كيما الله بيتش بعد ما نخلص على طول. Thank you very much again. I'm sorry it's not the closing. You do the closing. But I have to thank you myself.
Yes, and after I've never, I've been doing this for so many years. I've never seen an audience get. There are people who I've seen cry and so emotional, and you can even have some people. This morning I got up early as I always do, and I put on my workout gear, and I was running out the room because I wanted to go through my notes in my head as I was running for our talk today. Because in my head, the most important thing I was going to do today was do this right in my pursuit of success. And then as I was looking out the door, my little son, Taimur, said, "Mommy, can you help me figure out?" He was on Amazon, and he said, "Mommy, can you help me figure out which plane drone I should buy, which is the best?" And I said to him, "Habibi Taimur, later we can do it tomorrow." And I turned to go, and then no, I swear to God this happened. As I was opening the door, I thought about Ali, and I thought about everything you say, and I turned around and stopped. He talked about 45 minutes. But I will tell you something, Mo, that was the most successful part of my day, and I thank you for that. Thank you, Mo.
all to give a very, 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 very big hand to our amazing, amazing host, Amy Murphy, and the incredible Logan. Thank you. We would like you to enjoy the rest of the day, as we said, by Kima Beach, the amazing set by Shanti. And also, if you'd like, on your way out, to enjoy our premises, check out the cinema, check out also the virtual experience, the
حاولت انقل لكم كل حاجه، هخرج من اللايف بقى ولو في اي حاجه مهمه هعملها.